everyone. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here, and I'm excited to be here, just here. And you're going to hear today about my journey, and one of the reasons why we come together is to connect. We don't always come together to just know more about our speaker, right? Even if they're super cool and fabulous, right? We want to connect with each other, and so one of my goals for this workshop is for you to connect with each other, for you to be able to explore your own body journeys, because this presentation is out of the process that I went through to create that I am enough mindset, which is the complete opposite of the eating disorder mindset, right? And as I was doing that, I was thinking, this would be such a great process to share with other people. And I know as clinicians and as professionals, you're always going to events to educate yourself, to improve your skills, in order to benefit your clients. But today is for you. Aren't you excited? You know, this is going to be an opportunity. You're like, I don't know about that, Amy. So you're in the hot seat a little bit. Yeah, but today is called I Am Enough, a Body Journey Workshop. And a little bit about me, just in case this is the first time meeting me. I am an eating disorder survivor. I spent 18 years battling bulimia. I also have bipolar 2 disorder and have survived suicide. So a lot of the mental health aspect is in my story and my journey through psych hospitals and suicide attempts, and that mental health journey has really given me an opportunity to reach out to other people who have mental health conditions, and also a lot of advocacy work with eating disorders being mental health conditions and being severe psychiatric illnesses, so we can bring that light to that too. And being the former dancer that I am, former pre-professional classical ballet dancer, dance is my heart. I love dancers. Their body journeys are so unique, and after I was able to recover from ED, I'm going back in, and I'm going to tell those dancers that they are more than dancers, that they're more than their bodies, and that there's freedom, and then there's recovery, and there's nothing to be ashamed of if you're struggling against your body, especially when you're on stage or in a leotard and tights, right? Because are we dancing like half naked every day, all day in front of mirrors? No. So it could be a very unique challenge for them. So I started my own nonprofit organization. I said, what's out there for dancers? And I just, of course you go to Google. You Google everything first, right? So I started Googling, and I'm like, helping dancers with anorexia. You don't put in dancers and anorexia or dancers with bulimia or anything like that in a search engine, because you're probably not going to go to a whole lot of positive stuff. Well, there was no one doing any sort of work in that field to support them. So I just, I'm going to start one. So I went in and started a nonprofit, and I called it Dancing with Ed. So you'll hear a little bit more about that. And of course, I'm a motivational speaker if you haven't already noticed. So I am hoping to inspire you today, to remind you that you're more than your bodies, that you're more than your work. We spend so much time meeting our goals and getting better and improving when really we're already good enough right now. You're already enough in your life, in your relationships, in your work, right now. I mean, isn't that an amazing concept? And it's hard to wrap our minds around sometimes, because the world throws these messages at us. It's like, no, you want to improve, you want to change, you want to grow, right? You need to do this, 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 and this. But if we could stop buying that myth and go, wait a second, and I'll teach you that step about disagreeing. It's a freeing place to be. So let's go on a journey, shall we? Okay, let's go. All right, we've had breakfast, we've had coffee. There are handouts of the PowerPoint in the center of the table, so if you don't have anything to take notes on, feel free to grab one of those. And they're real fancy, they're black and white. Yeah, because I'm my own graphic designer, so they are black and white. So we are going to create that I am enough mindset. I wasn't sure what to call it. Were they steps? Were they, 1, 2, and 3. I don't know. I think that this is more of a evolution of a change of beliefs. But I'm just going to call it a step. So for today, concepts, I've had enough. That's the first thing we're going to talk about is the I've had enough. You got to get sick and tired of being sick and tired, right? The second place we're going to learn about is the body is enough. Now that I've had enough, my body is enough. And we'll learn how I grew through that and how we can as well. And then I do enough in the world of doing, right? How can we remind ourselves that we do enough? And I want to give you an opportunity to explore and reflect on your own body journeys and what has impacted you. You know, our bodies are continuing to grow and change, and we don't have the same relationship with our body that we had 15 years ago, right? And that's good, right? And hopefully it's through group discussions. So you are not going to have to hear me talk for very long at a time, which is good, unless you really like my voice, and then I'll just make you a recording. You can just listen to it before you go to sleep. The discussion time is what I'm most looking forward to, so that we can get to know each other a little bit, okay? All right. So I'm going to tell you a story where my body journey officially began when the thing happened. My event in my life happened when I was 17 years old. Some of you may know a little bit about my story, how I moved away from home at 14 to study pre-professional classical ballet. I was very young, and I was very determined. I was very disciplined, and I was extremely good at what I did. I moved up very quickly in the schools. I was dancing with a gentleman from the Royal Ballet in England, so if you couldn't get any more higher than that, you couldn't get any more validation than that. And he's telling you that, you know, a young dancer, that you're going to be the next Margot Fontaine, that's just pretty freaking awesome. Like, you know, just keep it coming. So many other things fell into place in my life. When I was 14 years old, my dad showed back up in my life. He came to all my shows. He brought me to my rehearsals. I was special. I was important. He was bragging about me. I mean, who wouldn't want that, right? So here I am. I moved away from home, and I felt fulfilled for the first time. My dad's showing up, and I wasn't feeling invisible anymore. But my body, that was a different story. Just after the first couple of months, my body started to break down. It started with my knees, and then it went to my hips. And after the first year, I was having to sit out more and more. And in the dance world, injuries are the way to, injuries come in all the time, right? I mean, sports, you injure, you get better, and you get back out there. So for us, it was like, oh, you're injured. All right, we'll see you in a couple weeks. Not, oh no, are you going to be able to do this anymore, right? So my doctors were like, look, this is not good. You have degenerative disc disease. You have arthritis in your spine. You have 3 herniated discs in your lower back. You are not going to dance again. Like, after that show, it was it. And I think for a while I was in shock, because at that moment I felt like I had lost everything. I couldn't wrap my mind around the fact that my dad went back to work and what that did to my identity. I lost who I was. I had to move back home. I lost my peer group. I mean, if you talk about risk factors, just pile them up. Here I was, right? And in my young mind, I thought to myself, it's my body's fault. My body wasn't good enough. There's that word, enough. It wasn't enough. My body wasn't strong enough. Therefore, I wasn't enough. And in the dance community, body enough, you're enough, it's like the same message oftentimes. So I wore a brace for a year, and of course back then they're like really designer braces, right? So it went from like the tip of my ribs to, is that still running? My hips? Yes. Yeah, and it had this big like Velcro strap, two actually, on the front. So I could cinch myself, and you know, when you're healing a broken spine, they don't want you to bend. Well, whose torso doesn't bend? Like ever, right? So when I go to pick up stuff at school, they're like, what is wrong with that girl? Like, I'm just working my thighs. This, you know, that doesn't. You know, and when I lean over, it would pop out the back. how nice high school kids are? Right? So they never knocked on it. Right? I remember like Ace of Brace, because that was the big band back then. I'm dating myself, okay? Ace of Base was the big band back then. So I was Ace of Brace, and it made me feel so good about myself. I didn't feel different. Of course not. You know, everyone was worried about what they were going to do on the weekends, and here I am. What am I going to do the rest of my life? I was retired when I was 17. And that was when depression hit. So that physical injury wasn't just a physical injury, was it? It was an emotional injury. It was a mental injury. It was an identity injury. It could be one of those things. So that is when my body journey fully began going in a not so good direction. Your warm-up question for your group is, are you ready? It's on your paper. Have you ever had stitches, gotten in an accident, worn a brace, worn a cast, been in some sort of an event that it affected you, it changed your relationship with your body somehow? Think about it. Take about 10 minutes and just start processing that with your group. Start sharing some things that may have happened to you or the places you've been. When it comes to that body journey, when you hear this very nice, relaxing music, it's going to be like a minute left or two of your discussion, okay? Because last time I did this workshop, I just got on the mic. Okay, it's time to stop. And I got some feedback about that. I'm open to feedback. That's totally fine. So I'm going to win the more relaxation approach. So you hear that music going, and if you have any questions, of course, raise your hand. Okay, I'm here to support you. All right. And here's your question, just in case.